This is a platform for us. We grew up in that environment, taking ourselves out of it, showing this is possible. You've done that, taking people out of the environment they've grown up in, showing this is possible. So now, just kind of being along the same lines of that, what do you think is instrumental for the come up for you? What was one of the most vital things you could give and you can pass off? And what's one of the things that you can say someone told you and you strayed away from and it benefited you from straying away from?
Man, Combat Jack, rest in peace. He was like, I don't know, you guys are probably not super familiar, but he was like a lawyer, like one of the first black lawyers in New York who was like doing like legal work for Bad Boy and shit. And so he was like real early on that world and kind of just like left all the lawyer shit behind to say, no, I want to be a fucking podcaster. He died young, like 4 years into like creating this podcast empire and stuff. But he helped a shitload of people early on getting into the podcasting space, people like Tax Stone and me, and like had a whole network of podcasts and stuff. And I remember him telling me, he goes, bro, I see you, and I see you doing 3-4 podcasts dropping in a week. He's like, you got to make it special. You gotta like just drop one a week and just make it special. And that is good advice for like a lot of podcasters. But I was just like listening to him say that, be like, bruh, no. Like, I got way too much energy in me to talk to one person a week. Like, I'm trying to talk to at least 4 or 5 people a week. And that to me could be like a day or two, like just doing 2 or 3 per day. And like, I understood where he was coming from, but I'm so glad I didn't take that advice, because kind of like my signature is that I do a shitload of interviews.
Crazy content.
And in the same week, I might drop an interview with a battle rapper, an underground rapper, a famous rapper, a porn star, a skateboarder, a fucking whatever. Like, I love that shit. Like, that to me is what keeps it fun. If I just and a lot of the underground rappers I interview and stuff, is like they are really underground, because that's my kind of my advice is like, you have to like be willing to take chances on people who are very early in their career, I think, if you want to really establish an identity. Because if you only fuck with people who are super established and have already done 15 fucking interviews, then you're just not going to really have your own brand. And like, when I look at content creators, sometimes I look at like, there will be like chicks on YouTube who, when the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was going on, they are every day making so much content about this one trial. And yes, that is kind of like weird to like devote your whole being to covering this one thing, but they develop a fan base from doing that maybe they can branch out and start doing other different types of topics and stuff. So sometimes it's just drilling in deep on one thing. And like, you know, even academics, like he was talking about his success and how he was annoyed that Joe Budden was saying it was because of the war in Chirac, because he said he blew the fuck up on YouTube in large part because of like Drake versus Meek Mill. You know, like it's like these big stories that he was just doing. Like, I remember even doing like Soulja Boy versus Rico Reckless.
I remember that.
All that shit. And it was like he might drop 10 videos in a day covering all the details of this shit. And I'm watching every single one. And it's like, when you think about where he's at now, I mean, you couldn't have really predicted that Rico Reckless versus Soulja Boy would have been like a key component, but all that like just kind of
and led up to,
you know, you're just building up your fan base by just showing people like, look, I make fucking dope videos. Maybe you should trust me when I make a video about something the next time too. You know, it's just building that trust and that relationship.
Great
you know?
advice. Great advice.